So what are they chasing after here today? They will not be chasing after any live prey. In fact, they're not chasing after any food items at all here today. What they're chasing after is simply just a bundle of feathers tied together with some string. It's pretty similar to a cat toy you might have at home. Although I will say, most of our cheetahs had a very different reaction to it the first time it was introduced. Most of them wanted nothing to do with these feathers. So what did we do then? Well, that's where the beauty of positive reinforcement training comes in. Has anyone heard of positive reinforcement training? Show of hands. Okay, I see a couple hands in there. So even if you don't recognize the term, I promise you've probably used it without even realizing it. If you have a pet at home and you ask them to sit and you give them a treat for it, that's positive reinforcement training. If you don't have a pet at home but you have kids at home and maybe anytime they do their homework they get video game or TV time, that's also positive reinforcement training. So the simplest way I like to describe it is we are reinforcing or rewarding behavior we hope to see more of in the future, and we're simply ignoring any behavior we'd like to see less of. So we never say no, bad, wrong, incorrect. We never withhold food. So then the training or the run becomes something more fun and something enjoyable in their day. It's not something they ever have to do. They always have the choice or the option to say no whenever they would like. So then that comes to our feather lure. So maybe we'd introduce it to our cheetahs. They weren't really interested at first, but maybe they'd feel brave, they'd sniff it, maybe they'd bend down and bite it. They would get a treat for both those things until eventually they learned, okay, this is something fun. This is something I maybe want to play with. From there, we're able to do small baby steps or what we call approximations. So maybe we have them play with it in a bedroom. Maybe we then feel like attaching it to a little bit of string and have them chase it in one of the backyards until eventually we have them bring it out here and maybe go a little bit of a further distance until they feel comfortable going longer distances across this habitat. Now, cheetahs are sprinters, not marathon runners, so they are only able to maintain their top speeds for 30 seconds to a minute tops. On average, they usually run about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So I say this because this is probably the fastest presentation you will see here in the park today. They only do about a lap and a half out here, and it will be before your eyes, it'll be done before you know it. So I want to make sure you all are aware, and they will be coming out of that back gate on the left-hand side of the habitat. Cheetahs are also ambush predators. So she will not come out here immediately. What she's going to do is she's going to hang out in the gate there and she's going to stalk her prey. So out in Africa, they'll usually lay low in a bush. They'll keep an eye on their prey. Cheetahs have amazing eyesight. They can see up to 3 miles away. And then what they'll do is they'll take off running when they see that perfect opportunity. And Nave is an expert at this. So she will come out here into that gate. She'll hang out low, get an eye on that feather lure, and then she will take off when she feels ready. So Alexis is going to be running the machine today, and she has a really important job of communicating to Nave exactly what we're looking for. So I already mentioned that before, the body positioning. I really want you all to also keep a really close eye on Nave's tail. That is one of my favorite adaptations that cheetahs have, and it's really cool to see in action. So cheetahs actually use their tail like a rudder on a boat. So when they need to make a last-minute turn, they'll actually throw their tail in the opposite direction to help them maintain their balance. They'll also use it to help them stop on a dime. So when they have to come to that halting stop at the end, if you keep a close eye, that tail should go straight up like a stop sign. And it's really cool to see in action from Nave today. We're hoping to see some really beautiful turns from her. She should be doing turns at both ends of the habitat if everything goes to plan. And you will be able to see all that beautiful speed and agility from Nave today. So we do use positive reinforcement training here, and we all do have Nave's primary diet on us. So we do feed our cheetahs a red meat mixture here. They are carnivores, but that's not all that we use. So they are carnivores. They can get whole prey items such as chicken, steak, mice, rats, you name it. But most often we do feed them their red meat mixture as part of their main diet. Nave also is a really big fan of chicken broth in a squirt bottle, which you will see some of our trainers use. And it has to be exactly the right temperature, even on a hot summer day like today. If it's 100 degrees out, Nave wants it coffee hot. We can also offer this in ice cubes on a hot summer day. We can throw those out on the habitat for them to cool off with. But that's not all. We have 9 cheetahs here. So we don't only use food, we can use many different things to reinforce our 9 cheetahs, including which is our habitat here. So they do come out here throughout the day and share or spend outside time on free time throughout the habitat time. So I like to encourage everyone to come back throughout the day. You never know what you might see here. You will see different cheetah groups out here every hour or 2 hours. And one really fun thing that we can do with that is we can take them to different parts of this habitat and they can smell the other cheetahs, which they really seem to enjoy. We never mix our social groups here. They always spend time in their own social group, but coming out to a habitat where other cheetahs have been can be really rewarding and enriching enriching for our cheetahs, getting to smell other cheetahs. They can get a scent for what they're doing with their day. We can also take them to a nice shady spot on a hot summer day. That can be rewarding for a cheetah as well. I know it's rewarding for me to stand in the shade on a hot summer day, probably for you guys as well. We can also take them to a sunny spot on a rare Florida cold day here at Busch Gardens. So it looks like our machine setup is all ready to go. Looks like Alexis is ready to run that machine for Nave. I can see my safety spotter, Leanne, back behind the scenes. She has the important job of keeping us safe here on the habitat, as well as opening that back gate where Nave is going to be coming out of here today. Now I have an important question for all of you. Are you ready to see a cheetah run? Yeah. Oh, we can be a little bit more excited than that. Are you guys ready to see a cheetah run? Yeah. That's what I want to hear, and Nave will come out of that gate whenever she is ready. Excellent job by Nave. Yeah, she absolutely came out here like a rocket. She definitely hit some of those top speeds and had some really beautiful turns in there as well. So now Nave has caught her well-earned prize, and she's going to do what a cheetah out in Africa would typically do. So normally once they caught their prey, they're usually too tired to even be able to eat. So I don't know about you guys, but I really wouldn't want to go on a sprint or have a really hard workout and then have to gorge myself on a really large meal. So typically they'll take it to a nice shady spot like a bush and they'll hide it from other large predators. Now cheetahs can catch their prey 50% of the time, and that's a pretty significant number. To give you all an idea, we typically see a range of 20 to 25% of the time with large predators such as lions. So they have a really great success rate and they know how to maintain that. So with these beautiful adaptations, I mentioned her tail earlier, but another one of my absolute favorites is actually those stripes on their face. So while you're getting a good look at her, you see those black tear mark stripes under her eyes. Those are actually called malar stripes, and they work like a built-in pair of sunglasses. So cheetahs hunt during the day, and again, that helps them with competition from other large predators. And how they're able to do that is that eye black or those tear mark stripes that absorbs the sunlight. If you ever see a baseball player or a football player with eye black under their eyes, they actually stole that from cheetahs. So Nave is more than welcome to hang out with those feathers for as long as she would like. Like I mentioned, there is absolutely no nutritional value to them at all, and we have all of her favorite things on us whenever she is ready to come away from them. So Sarah asked her right there if she would like to come away and get some snacks, and Nave said no thank you, and that is totally okay. So that's what we really highlight, is that choice-based training here. So if we were to open that gate when the run were to start and Nave were to come out here and lay in the shade, that is entirely her choice, and that is totally okay. It sometimes happens. But she decided she was ready to come away and get some of those snacks, so now Sarah is going to reinforce her with one of her favorite things, which is that chicken broth in a squirt bottle. And then she can go and hang out with Sarah all across the habitat and get some of her other favorite awards. So what do y'all think? Nave did a really awesome job today, right? Yeah, all right. So just by coming here today, falling in love with Nave, hopefully learn some fun facts you want to share with your friends and family, or just sharing a picture on social media, inspiring others. That's all you have to do to help these guys, because they aren't doing so great. So cheetahs, there's only about 7,000 of them left on our planet. To give you all an idea, we typically see more guests here in the park than there are cheetahs left in our world. So it's by coming here today, learning a fun fact, feeling inspired, sharing your love with your friends and family. That's all you have to do. If you want to help out a little bit extra, if you head to any of our nearest gift shops, you can round up to the nearest dollar, and that'll go towards helping hundreds of different species, including our beloved cheetahs here. We're going to hang out with Nave for a little bit longer and get her some reinforcement out here on the habitat. If anyone has any questions, feel free to throw up a hand. This is our last presentation of the day, but I want to thank you all for stopping by here and spending time with us today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day here at the park. Thank you, everyone.